It begins at 7:12 a.m. in the kitchen, while you're waiting for the kettle to finish its slow, familiar boil. The morning light is soft, the kind that makes everything look gentler than it really is. You're thinking about nothing in particular, just the warmth rising from the cup in your hands, the faint hum of the refrigerator, the ordinary rhythm of a day that hasn't decided what it wants to be yet. Then the phone vibrates. Not the casual buzz of a message, but the sharp, insistent pulse of an emergency alert. At the same time, through the closed window, a siren begins its long, rising note. Not local, not weather, a different tone entirely, one you have never heard in person. Your fingers pause on the mug, the steam curls upward, the siren continues. You glance at the screen, a single phrase fills it, framed in red. You read it twice because the words don't settle the first time. Your pulse shifts, slow at first, then hard. Outside, the street is unnaturally still. A dog stops barking mid-sound. You notice the silence more than the noise, a sudden, heavy quiet, as if the air itself is bracing for something you can't see yet. You're still holding the cup when a faint flash of light reflects off the metal sink. Reflexively, you look toward the window. You don't understand yet. You won't understand for several more seconds, but you feel it, the moment something ends. You set the cup down. You need to move. It's been less than a minute since the alert appeared on your phone, but time feels loose now. Slower at the edges, sharper in the center. You're still in the kitchen at 7:13 a.m., standing between the counter and the window. The siren hasn't stopped. It cycles upward, holds, then falls, vibrating through the glass in a thin, nervous tremor. You take one step back from the window. Distance matters, even if all you know right now is instinct. Civil defense guidance is simple. Put as much space and material between you and the outside as possible. Shielding, walls, interior rooms. You repeat that quietly in your head. Shielding, walls, interior rooms. Your first action is small. You turn away from the window fully. You don't look for the flash again. Curiosity spikes. What was it? How far? But you push it down. The impulse won't help you. Wait, you tell yourself in a low internal voice. One breath, then move. You inhale for 3 counts, exhale for 4. Again, you reach for your phone with steadier hands than you expect. The alert's wording is concise, almost brutally so. You read the phrase "immediate shelter" twice, then a third time. There's no room for interpretation. This is not a drill. No instructions about evacuation, no attempt to soften the edges. Just the essential directive: get inside, stay inside. Your mind begins sorting your home by instinct. Which room has no windows? Which door seals best? What can you move quickly? You start with action, not debate. You cross the hallway, moving toward the interior of the house. As you walk, you feel the floor subtly vibrating. Not a quake, but a distant pressure wave traveling through material. You don't know what it means, but you note it. Information matters. Panic wastes it. Reaching the hallway closet, you pause. This is where you keep the heavy blankets, the duct tape, the old towels. You grab them without overthinking. Your hands shake once, briefly, then stabilize as you bundle the stack against your chest. Your mind tries to wander. Who else has seen the alert? Should you call someone? Should you warn the neighbors? But you narrow your focus. Later, you tell yourself, firm and quiet. Later comes after shelter. By the time you reach the inner hallway, the one with no windows and the thickest walls, the first 5 minutes have passed in full. You kneel, set the supplies down, and listen. The siren is distant now, or maybe your ears are adjusting. Light filters weakly beneath the door behind you. The air feels still, suspended. You whisper the word again. Breathe. You've taken the first step. Distance from windows. Movement toward the interior. That is survival. Now you build on it. By minute 6, you begin to understand how quickly your mind tries to argue with reality. Part of you still hopes the alert is an error, a misfired test, a glitch in the emergency system. That part whispers insistently, as if denial itself is a form of safety. But another part, the part that has already pulled you into the hallway, knows the truth in your chest. You steady yourself with a hand on the wall. Cool, dry wall. Slight vibration. You listen for anything beyond the siren, cars, voices, footsteps. Instead, you hear nothing but a faint, low-frequency hum in the distance. It's the kind of sound you feel more than hear, like pressure behind your ribs. Decide. You need to gather essentials before you commit to the inner space. Civil defense guidance is clear. Once fallout begins, you don't go back out, not for forgotten items, not for curiosity. Not for anything. The window for safe movement is narrow. A few minutes now, less later. You turn toward the bedroom. It's on the western side. One window, thick curtains, a heavy dresser. The light through the curtains is slightly off, unnaturally diffuse. You don't approach the window. Instead, you crouch, staying low, and open the bottom drawer of the nightstand. You take the portable radio, spare batteries, your phone charger, a half-used notebook and a pen. The pen feels heavier than it should. You place it all in a small pile near the doorway, keeping your body angled away from the window. A calm voice inside you repeats, "Distance and angle matter. Let the wall shield you." You open the closet next, grab the emergency water bottles, 2 liters, total. Not nearly enough for long-term survival, but enough for the first day if you ration carefully. One bottle slips from your hand, hits the carpet with a dull thud. You freeze, listening. No footsteps, no voices, only that distant hum. You stand again, slower this time. Your legs feel unsteady, as if your body is realizing the stakes before your mind fully does. You breathe in deliberately, 3 counts, hold, 4 counts out. In the kitchen, the kettle has clicked itself off. You can picture the warm cup sitting exactly where you left it. Steam fading, the surface rippling back into stillness. That image grounds you more than it should. Something ordinary still exists, even if it's shrinking by the second. You return to the hallway with your supplies. You place them in a neat line outside the inner room you've chosen, the bathroom, the one with no external walls and the smallest air volume. That makes it easier to seal, easier to defend against contaminated air. Then comes the moment you've been avoiding. Do you warn the neighbors? Your chest tightens. You picture the older couple next door, the single mother across the hall. They may not have seen the alert yet. They may be confused, unaware, frozen like you were minutes ago. Your hand drifts toward the front door, a reflex, an ache. You stop yourself. This is when panic pretends to be compassion, you whisper. A hard truth, but a real one. Civil defense principles do not bend to guilt. If fallout is imminent, opening the door compromises your shelter. One door swing could pull contaminated air inside. One conversation could cost minutes you don't have. You stand still until the urge passes. Later, you say again, after the danger peak, later. Your voice feels both too loud and too soft in the quiet hallway. At minute 12, you take your supplies into the bathroom. You close the door halfway, preparing to seal it once you're inside. You touch the handle lightly, a simple gesture repeated subconsciously, and let your breathing settle. This is the moment where belief becomes action. You've chosen shelter over uncertainty. That choice carries weight. It also keeps you alive. Now you prepare the room itself. By minute 15, the house feels different. The siren outside fades into the background, replaced by an unnervingly consistent quiet. You move into the bathroom fully and close the door, letting the dim, artificial light replace the soft morning glow. This room is small, no windows, one door, one vent, neutral tiles under your feet, cool to the touch, a towel bar, a sink, the tub. Ordinary items suddenly promoted into the architecture of survival. You set the blankets, towels, and duct tape on the closed toilet lid. Then you crouch beside the bottom of the door, pressing 2 fingers into the gap. The air is still, but you know it won't be later. Fallout particles don't drift like smoke. They settle, cling, ride air currents. Your job is simple. Keep them out. You fold the first towel lengthwise and press it into the gap. The texture is rough against your knuckles. You tape the edges to the tile floor. The sound of tape peeling, sharp, dry, familiar, is almost comforting. Your breathing evens. Next, you turn to the vent. The metal slats gleam faintly. A vent is a vulnerability. Every civil defense manual makes that clear. You layer a blanket over it, tape it thickly along all edges, then press your palm against the fabric. No draft. Good. For a moment, you lean back on your heels. The work steadies you. It gives your hands something to do while your mind catches up. But then the psychological weight settles. This is real. This is happening. A flicker of panic vibrates through your ribs. What city was hit? How close? You don't know. You may not know for hours. The uncertainty scratches at the inside of your thoughts. You close your eyes and use the simplest grounding technique you remember. Identify one sound, one texture, one piece of light. Sound, the faint hum of the bathroom fan. Off, but still cooling. Texture, the duct tape under your fingertips, sticky, firm. Light, the soft, flickering reflection on the faucet. Your shoulders drop slightly. This is control, you murmur. This is what you have. You stand and move to the tub. It's a solid structure, surrounded by thick walls. It will give you the most shielding if the external radiation spikes. You pull one of the blankets into it, padding the bottom. This tub isn't comfort, it's protection. Civil defense context, brief. Fallout doesn't arrive instantly. It takes time to drift depending on wind and distance. The first hour is critical because you can still improve your protection before radiation peaks. You place the water bottles beside the tub and set the radio on the closed toilet lid. The notebook goes next to it. You flip to a blank page and write the time, 7:28 a.m. Shelter, sealed. You underline it twice. The lines aren't straight, but they feel final. A pressure settles over your chest. Not fear exactly, the gravity of responsibility. This room, this decision, this discipline, it's all on you now. No sirens will guide the next steps. No alerts will tell you when to breathe. You rest your hand on the door handle again, the recurring gesture, and repeat the words softly. Wait. You have created your first safe zone. Now you commit to it. Commitment is survival. By minute 30, the bathroom has become your entire environment. You feel it immediately. The air is still, enclosed, a faint echo following every movement. The sealed towels at the door muffle the outside world until it feels distant and unreal. You sit in the tub, knees drawn slightly inward, hands resting on the blanket you laid down earlier. Every object in this small space has shifted meaning. The flashlight isn't a tool now. It's a reassurance. The radio isn't a gadget. It's your connection to the world beyond these walls. You click it on, static, just static. A low, restless hiss. You adjust the dial slowly. Each notch feels louder than the siren outside once did. No voices, no emergency broadcast tone. Just the sound of the radio searching, the sound of uncertainty made audible. Civil defense reality slips quietly into your mind. Information blackouts are normal in the first hour. Infrastructure strains, emergency teams prioritize immediate response zones, atmospheric interference follows large detonations. You may not hear anything for a long time. Silence doesn't mean abandonment, it's just the shape of the moment. Still, silence tests you. Your pulse speeds up. The space feels tighter. You feel the urge to stand, to move, to open the door, just to crack, not to leave, but to check. That word is dangerous. You recognize it. This is when panic tries to disguise itself as reason, you say softly. You shift your awareness back to sensory anchors. Sound, the faint buzz of the radio. Texture, the tub's cold enamel under your left hand. Light, the steady glow of the overhead bulb. You breathe into those points until your thoughts stop racing. Then you begin the next task, reinforcing the shielding. You lift one of the blankets and drape it over the closed bathroom door, securing the top with strips of duct tape. The fabric absorbs sound, adds mass, a small but meaningful improvement in shielding. Every layer matters. Every centimeter of material between you and the outside reduces your exposure. You take another towel and place it over the space beneath the sink cabinet. Dust falls on your fingers. Gritty and dry. You shake your hand once, then continue. As you work, you feel a small shift inside you. These actions, simple, repetitive, deliberate, create a rhythm. Your mind aligns with it. The panic wave that rose when you heard static begins to recede. You sit back in the tub and mark the time again in your notebook. 7:42 a.m. Primary shielding reinforced. Underneath, you write one word: stay. Reflection settles in quietly. You realize that survival feels less like bravery and more like restraint, holding yourself still when every instinct wants movement. You've strengthened your shelter. Now you secure your essentials. Stability begins with routine. By minute 45, your mind begins drifting toward long-term survival. The next hours, the peak danger window, the coming night. But long-term thinking is a trap right now. You pull yourself back to the basic triad: air, water, position. Air first. You stand and test the taped vent with the back of your hand. No movement. You press your ear close, no whistling, no draft. Good. You add a second layer of towel over the existing blanket. Double protection. Civil defense reminder echoes in your memory. Fallout risk comes from particles, not gas. Sealing is about keeping dust out, not airtight suffocation. You say this aloud, it helps. The logic cools your nerves. Water next. You pick up the first bottle and consider how quickly fear can push you to overdrink. You twist the cap, take a single sip, barely enough to wet your mouth, then close it tightly and mark the bottle with the time: 7:55 a.m. First sip, a small line, a record of discipline. Your stomach growls. You ignore it. Hunger is manageable. Dehydration is not. Then comes position, where you place your body in the room. You climb back into the tub, settling into the blanket-lined surface. The tub is both shelter and psychological anchor. Walls at your back, walls at your sides. A single contained space, easier to control. The quiet grows thicker now. No sirens, no hum, no distant thuds. Just stillness. You turn the radio back on, more static. You let it play anyway. A steady noise is better than your own heartbeat pulsing against silence. Your thoughts drift toward the people outside, the neighbors, the strangers on the street, anyone who didn't move fast enough. You feel the guilt rising before the thought fully forms. You close your eyes. This isn't selfishness, you whisper. It's containment. You breathe in, slow and measured. 3 counts in, hold, 4 counts out. You open your notebook again and write a single line. Discipline keeps you alive in the first hour. A truth you're still teaching yourself as you write it. Still your hand trembles once as you set the pen down. Your environment is secure. Your resources are set. The next test is internal. Staying present without letting fear pull you into dangerous actions. By 8:15 a.m., you've been in the sealed room for nearly an hour. Your body is learning the contours of the space, the hard line of the tub beneath you, the faint warmth of the overhead bulb, the slight chemical smell of duct tape. Your senses sharpen in the absence of external noise. You notice the small drip of the faucet, irregular but steady. You tighten the handle until it stops. You listen again. Silence. But silence isn't always comforting. Your mind tries to fill it. What time did the blast occur? Was it local or distant? How far does fallout travel? You don't have answers, and your brain hates that. You ground yourself again, one physical anchor at a time. You touch the tub's rim with your fingertips, smooth enamel, cool, reassuring. You press your palm to your sweater, warm, familiar. You tap the water bottle once, softly. A small sound in a small room. The air feels slightly heavier now. Not dangerous, just enclosed. You're aware of your own breathing in a way you usually aren't. Each inhale feels deliberate, each exhale measured. You feel the urge to open the door again, just to check the hallway, to reassure yourself that the house is still intact, that nothing has changed, but you know the rules, once sealed. Movement risks contamination. Even the smallest disturbance can pull air under the gap. So you stay. You rest your head against the cool tile wall for a moment. The chill spreads down your neck, calming the heat building under your skin. A sudden, faint vibration tremors through the wall, not loud, not violent, just enough for your muscles to tense. You hold your breath and listen. Nothing. Then, faintly, the static on your radio shifts. A brief rise, then fall, like someone adjusting a frequency on the other side of the world. You sit up straighter. "Wait," you whisper. "Listen." But the signal fades back into noise. You close the notebook slowly and write a short line beneath the earlier note. Noise is still connection. It's a truth to hold on to. You've entered the first long stretch of stillness. This is where routine becomes survival. Now you endure. By 9:10 a.m., the silence has become a landscape of its own. You've been in the bathroom for over an hour now, long enough for your body to start resisting the stillness. Your foot taps once against the tub wall before you even realize it. A small, restless impulse. You force it still again. Your throat feels dry. Not dangerously, just enough to remind you that discipline will be measured moment by moment. You resist the urge to drink. Hydration is rationed. Fear will try to disguise thirst as urgency. You lift the bottle anyway, feeling its weight, heavier than your anxiety wants to admit. You take a small sip, mark the time, 9:12 a.m., second sip. The act of writing steadies you. You note the time, the amount, a short internal observation, still in control. The radio hisses steadily, a constant, thin static. You've learned to appreciate its presence. It means the outside world hasn't disappeared. You're simply waiting for a signal to push through. You adjust the dial again, slowly, carefully. For a moment, the static deepens into a muffled throb, like a voice caught in wind far away. You freeze, leaning closer, breath shallow. Then it's gone. The psychological pull to do something spikes again. To stand up, to move, to open the door, to peek outside and reclaim your sense of place in the world. You recognize the shape of this impulse. It's not logic. It's the body rebelling against confinement. This is when you breathe, you tell yourself. 3 in, 4 out. You feel the air warm slightly around you. Not from danger, from your own breath, accumulating in a sealed room not designed for long-term occupancy. It's still safe, just close. You stretch your fingers, slowly, deliberately. You tap the pen against the notebook once, reminding yourself of presence, not panic. A faint knock echoes from somewhere in the house. You sit up instantly. Not on your bathroom door. Not close. More like the front door. Muted through walls, distorted by towels and blankets. You can't be sure if it was real or imagined. You wait and wait. Nothing follows, but the guilt that blooms in your chest is very real. If someone is out there, should you answer? Should you risk it? No. You know the cost. Opening the door could pull dust inside, could break your sealed environment, could undo everything you've done in the last hour. Your breath trembles once before you steady it again. Civil defense reminder, the first 2 hours after fallout begins are the highest risk. Opening your shelter now is dangerous. No exceptions. You whisper it out loud. Not yet, not now. Your voice feels small in the room, but resolute. You've faced the first test of temptation. You've held your ground. Endurance is not passive. It is active restraint. By 10:03 a.m., your sense of time is shifting. You check your phone, but the signal bars flicker uselessly. No data, no messages, no calls. The screen shows the alert again, stark and red, as if reminding you that conditions haven't changed. You put the phone face down on the floor. "Later," you whisper. "Later, for news." You turn your attention back to the radio. You adjust the dial in slow increments until a faint pattern emerges behind the static. Short, clipped bursts. A tone, maybe mechanical, maybe a transmission trying to cut through interference. You lean close, holding your breath. For a moment, you think you hear a word. Just one. Half-formed, you close your eyes. Wait. The sound dissolves, back to static. But something in your chest loosens. The world is still out there. Signals exist even if you can't decode them yet. You sit back in the tub and wrap the sweater tighter around yourself. The ceramic beneath you has grown colder. Your body aches for movement. You stretch your arms and legs carefully, mindful not to disturb the sealed edges. Your stomach growls, loudly. The sound is startling in the quiet. You reach for a granola bar. You hesitate. Then you put it back. Food is psychological comfort more than necessity right now. Hunger won't kill you. Impulsivity might. You focus on sensory grounding again. Sound, the faint hum of electricity in the walls. Texture, the rough weave of the sweater on your arms. Light, the warm, narrow glow of the overhead bulb. You inhale slowly. Exhale. Your heartbeat steadies. Then blackness. The light flickers once, then goes out. Your breath stops in your throat. In the darkness, the static from the radio becomes a presence, loud, overwhelming. You grab the flashlight instinctively, thumb pressing the switch. The small beam cuts a thin path across the tile. White, harsh, unforgiving. You force yourself to calm. Power outages are expected. Grids overload. Systems trip. You know this. You repeat it. This is normal, you whisper. This is expected. You keep the flashlight angled down to preserve the battery. The beam reflects softly off the porcelain tub. You sit still until the trembling in your hand stops. The darkness sharpens your focus. You realize how loud your breathing sounds in a sealed room. You close your eyes and repeat the grounding practice. 3 in, 4 out. Finally, when your pulse steadies, You pick up the pen and write in the notebook with your flashlight balanced between your knees. 10:11 a.m., power out, staying put. Writing the words makes them real, contained, manageable. Darkness changes nothing about your mission. Your shelter is still intact. Your discipline remains your defense. By 12:02 p.m., you've been confined for almost 5 hours. Time feels thick now, like moving through dense air. You settle deeper into the tub, adjusting the blanket underneath you to relieve the ache forming in your lower back. Your flashlight lies beside you, dimmed to its lowest setting to conserve battery. You only switch it on intermittently. You prefer the near dark. It reduces stimulation, narrows your thoughts, limits the world to what's essential. The radio is still static, but now and then you hear faint pulses, like distant Morse code that never resolves. You rest your hand on the water bottle again. This time you don't drink. You just feel its weight, the cool condensation forming lightly on the plastic. A reminder of how finite your supplies are, how precious. You mark the time in your notebook, 12:05 p.m., holding steady. No signal. You pause, letting the pen hover over the page. Your mind drifts to the neighbors again, their routines, their habits. Did they hear the alert? Did they move quickly enough? Were they closer to windows when the flash came? The guilt rises again, sharp and persistent, but you counter it. You cannot unseal the door, not now, not during peak fallout. Civil defense guidance is clear. The first 12 to 24 hours are the most dangerous. Radiation levels outside may be dozens of times higher than what your shielding blocks. Opening the door would break the barrier. Let in dust, let in danger you cannot undo. You close your eyes, pressing the back of your head against the wall. The tile is cool, it grounds you, your thoughts slow. You realize something quietly important. Your body has stopped shaking. Your breath comes evenly now. Your decisions feel deliberate, not frantic. And this is the psychological pivot, the shift from shock to discipline. You sit up and write a short sentence beneath your time mark. Steadiness is survival. In the dim light, the words look stronger than you feel. Then a sound interrupts you. Faint, muffled, rhythmic. Footsteps, not inside, outside, moving past your home. You hold your breath. Wait, listen. The footsteps pause near your front door. You imagine someone standing there, confused, lost, scared. You grip the edge of the tub until your knuckles ache. You don't move, you don't speak, you don't break the seal. After a long moment, the footsteps move on. You exhale slowly, shakily. Your stomach knots, but you whisper the truth anyway. You can't save everyone. You can barely save yourself. The words are painful, but real. You've survived the first mental drift, the dangerous middle stretch of the early hours. And the next phase is endurance, controlled, patient, unwavering. By 3:32 a.m., you've stopped trying to sleep. Your body drifts in and out of shallow rest, but every small noise pulls you awake again. The room feels colder now, the tile beneath you leaching heat slowly through the blanket. You check your phone again, out of habit more than hope. No signal, no updates, only the emergency alert waiting on the lock screen like a warning carved into glass. You set it down gently. Still here, you whisper to yourself. A statement of fact, a reminder. You adjust your position in the tub, wincing at the stiffness in your legs. Hours of stillness are their own kind of trial. But movement is controlled, slow, careful, measured. You drink a single sip of water. Mark the bottle with a short line, 3:35 a.m. Sip 4. Your handwriting wavers, but the act settles something inside you. Routine is survival. Markers anchor time. The radio sits where you left it, still murmuring a textured bed of static. But now, in the deep hours before dawn, Something shifts in the sound. A faint pattern emerges, not a voice yet, not words, but the cadence of human speech behind interference. You sit up sharply. The blanket falls slightly from your lap. The radio crackles. You bring it closer, turning the dial micrometer by micrometer. Static, rising hiss. Then, a thin, broken tone. Jency, star, indoors. Your breath halts. You tilt the radio slightly, angling it toward the corner of the room. Sometimes it helps. You don't know why, you do it anyway. The signal strengthens just enough for fragments to slip through. Fallout levels? Remain. Stay sheltered. Do not out. It's not clarity. It's not reassurance, but it's something, a voice, a confirmation, a thread tying you back to a world that has not disappeared. Your eyes sting unexpectedly. You blink hard. This is connection, you murmur, and connection is control. You listen for several minutes, catching fragments, building a rough picture. The detonation was not local, fallout patterns unpredictable. Shelter remains safest place. Updates will continue when possible. You write what you catch in the notebook, 3:44 a.m. Message partial. Stay inside. Still safest place. Your pen scratches the paper softly in the dark. You rest your hand briefly on the sealed door, the motif returning. And you feel not fear this time, but purpose. You survived the long, silent hours. Now information returns slowly, with the first hint of dawn. You've received your first confirmation from the outside world. You are not alone, and your choices were correct. Now you wait for daylight. By 7:18 a.m., the light outside the sealed bathroom door has shifted again. You notice it the moment you wake, not because you slept well, but because exhaustion finally pulled your eyes closed for a brief, dreamless stretch. The overhead light still hasn't returned. The room is a dim blue well defined only by the weak glow of the flashlight and the faint ambient shift beneath the door. You blink, orienting yourself. Your joints ache. Your mouth tastes stale. Your head is heavy, fogged. But you survived the night. You sit up and stretch carefully, holding the tub's sides as anchors. Your muscles protest. You push through it. Slow movements, controlled. You take a small sip of water. Mark it, 7:20 a.m. Fifth sip. Then you open the notebook and write one quiet line beneath it. Daylight means nothing yet, only time matters. You run your fingers along the sealed towel at the bottom of the door, still in place. Duct tape, still tight, no drafts, no disturbances, no signs of outside air. Your small world remains intact. The radio crackles again. The static shifts into a faint pattern. You lift it, adjusting the antenna. The voice is clearer this time, still broken, but undeniably human. You stay indoors for the full first 24 hours. Radiation levels decreasing but still dangerous. Official updates expected. Continue shelter. You breathe slowly, letting the fragments assemble a truth inside you. You did it. You made it through the most dangerous window, not because you knew everything. Not because you had perfect information, but because you stayed still. Your stomach tightens again, not hunger, but the emotional weight of the realization. Discipline kept you alive, restraint kept you safe. Every moment you fought the urge to open the door was a moment protected. You close your eyes and press your palm to your chest. Slow breath, slow thought. When you open your eyes again, you notice the way the flashlight beam catches on the duct tape. It sparkles faintly, a small reminder of the barriers you built with your own hands. A soft knock breaks the quiet. This time, it is unmistakable. On your hallway wall, maybe next door, someone moving slowly, hesitantly. You freeze. Your breath stops in your throat. Your hand grips the tub edge, your pulse surges, then silence again. No plea, no voice, just the sound of someone walking away. You whisper, barely audible, I'm sorry. The words fall into the tiled room like they weigh something. You remain still, because survival is not clean, it is not easy, it is a series of decisions that take pieces of you with them. You have crossed the first full day. The danger remains, but the pattern is changing. Now you prepare for first contact with the world outside your shelter. By 9:04 a.m., the blue-grey light filtering beneath the door brightens slightly. You recognize the shift instinctively. Sunlight finding its way into the hallway through whatever dust-choked sky exists outside. You stretch your legs, slowly, carefully. Your body aches, but it holds. You drink another measured sip and write 9:06 a.m., sixth sip, ration holding. You glance at the radio. Static still dominates. But every few minutes, the broadcast tone cuts through, steady and reassuring, even in broken form. You sit with your back against the tub wall and breathe. Your mind feels different today, less frantic, less reactive, more quiet, not calm, never calm, but steady. You look around the bathroom, the sealed vent, the layered towels, the taped door, the blanket-lined tub. Each object is familiar now, transformed. The room is no longer just a room. It is a shelter you built, a boundary you stayed within, a space that held your fear without letting it lead you. You run your hand along the tub's rim, the recurring gesture. This time it feels like reassurance. You listen to the world beyond the walls. A faint, distant rumble. Not an explosion, more like engines, coordinated, deliberate. Emergency vehicles, relief efforts. Signs of life moving again. The radio buzzes, then pulses with a more stable rhythm. A voice, clearer now. Authorities advising continued shelter. Radiation levels slowly declining. Remain indoors unless instructed otherwise. You let the words settle. The crisis hasn't ended. But you have survived the first 24 hours. No, the most critical, the most dangerous. Not by strength, not by heroism, but by discipline. You open your notebook one final time for today and write, "Survival is restraint." Beneath the line, you place today's date. The pen trembles once, then steadies. You look at your water bottle. The one marked with times, sips, small victories of control. And you notice a thin line of condensation forming on the plastic. The light catches it softly. Ordinary. Beautiful in its simplicity. You rest the bottle beside you. The date written in pen, the plastic cool against your palm. A small object transformed, not triumphant, just alive, just present in the dim light of a sealed room on the morning after. And you breathe. By noon, you make a decision. You will wait until official guidance arrives. You will continue monitoring the radio. You will ration what remains. You will hold the discipline that carried you this far. The coffee cup is still in the kitchen, exactly where you left it yesterday morning. Cold now. Untouched. A small monument to the ordinary life interrupted. You don't need to see it to remember.